Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, before we continue, I would like to criticize a little bit about the title of this forum tonight. The title is The Impact of Coronavirus Toward International Security. I think it's more appropriate if the title changed with the impact of coronavirus toward international, non-traditional, or non-conventional security. Why? I would like to explain to all of you my subtitle, Coronavirus in International Relations Perspective. It will related to the differences between the term of international security and international non-conventional security. First, about the understanding of contemporary global issues. Why? Because the coronavirus is part of the international, non-conventional, or non-traditional, or non-military security. Contemporary global issues are issues that developed after the Cold War ended in the 1990s. The understanding of contemporary global issues is related to the nature of issues that are no longer dominated by the East-West relations, such as the threat of nuclear war, ideological competition between democracy, liberal, and Marxism-Leninism, crisis diplomacy, and so on. In fact, even though the Cold War has ended, it turns out that security threats remain, and the reality shows, like us right now, nowadays, that the threat appears in new form. There is a new form and has undergone a transformation or shift in the form of multidimensional or non-military, non-traditional, non-conventional, or transnational security issues. In this case, the issues of contemporary global issue is classified into the gray area phenomenon. And I think the coronavirus spread that happened right now, we can call as the gray area phenomenon. The cause is the uncertainty of the nature of the threat to the structure, unity, and stability of sovereign states. Basically, contemporary global issues are indeed because of its nature as follows. First, unconventional. The second, non-traditional. The third, non-military. The fourth, multidimensional, and the fifth, transnational. And the characteristics of contemporary global issues as non-traditional security threats are: first, contemporary global issues which constitute a non-traditional security threats are not concentrated in one particular country. And the second, contemporary global issues are not focused on a particular geographical location. It's like the spread of coronavirus. And the third, contemporary global issues cannot be dealt with solely by military force. And the fourth, security issues which become contemporary global issues have threatened the existence of a country or individuals who are part of that country. So, based on the Copenhagen or Denmark consensus, the types of contemporary global issues are: first, climate change, communicable disease, and I think the coronavirus spread become part of the communicable disease, the second part. And the third, conflicts and armed proliferation. Fourth, access to education. The fifth, financial instability. The sixth, governance and corruption. And seven, malnutrition and hunger. Eight, migration. Nine, sanitation and access to clean water. And 10, subsidies and trade barriers. And coronavirus spread part of health and population issues, such as drugs, HIV or AIDS, SARS, MERS, Ebola virus before, yeah, and so on. And as a result of the impact it has on the lives of humankind, the point is, from the international, non-traditional or non-conventional issues, it will impact on the lives of humankind. So that's why we call it as a non-traditional security, not a traditional or conventional or military security. Because military security or conventional security or traditional security only focus on the use of power, the use of force, the use of power, hard power. And by their nature, contemporary forms of threats are grouped into two sections as follows. First, threats that are violent, such as human rights, the problem of human rights, terrorism, and so on. And the second, the threats that are non-violent. And the corona epidemic, the corona pandemic. I prefer to call coronavirus spread as the corona pandemic, not only endemic or epidemic, but now it become pandemic. So it is part of the threats that are non-violent issues and causes of the development of contemporary global issues related to the rapid progress in the field of information technology and transportation technology, which has increased the mobility of the people since the 1990s. It helped increase various global problems just like a coronavirus spread, then transcend national borders, especially in the spread and expansion of outbreaks of infection diseases such as coronavirus. So, coronavirus in perspective of international relations. What is coronavirus? Coronavirus type, the coronavirus novel is a new virus that causes respiratory illness. The virus that has become common knowledge was first discovered in Wuhan, China, and the coronavirus novel is one of the viruses that cause SARS and MERS. What are the symptoms of coronavirus? First, fever, then cough and cold, and the third, respiratory disorders, and the fourth, sore throat, and the fifth, easily tired and lethargic. And some positive cases of corona fine without symptoms. So sometimes we don't know that the person who sit beside us that infected or no with coronavirus, because sometimes some positive cases of corona found without symptoms. And how is the coronavirus spread? As we know, nowadays the number of countries that confirm the existence of coronavirus cases has penetrated 61 countries. And globally, the number of coronavirus is as many as 100,000 of cases with a number of more than 4,000 deaths. If we compare to the victim or the death because of Ebola or SARS or MERS, the number is so, wow, 4,000 compared to 800, 1 per 5, 5 per 1. So how does the coronavirus spread? The coronavirus spread mainly from person to person. And the virus spread when a person touches a surface or an object that has been exposed to the virus, then touch their own mouth, nose, or eyes. And however, this method is not considered as the main way to the virus, for the virus to spread. People are considered the most contagious when they are most symptomatic or who are sick. And what is the impact of the coronavirus spread? First, in domestic scope, cause mass panic. In the midst of an uncertain economic situation, the panic due to the spread of the coronavirus has inflated the prices of masks. How much the price of one mask now? 300. Wow. It's so expensive, And medicines and basic necessities, as a result, causing slowing in economic growth. And in regionally, cause a slowdown in regional economic growth also. And in global scope, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases has reached more than 100,000 cases. The cases of death in the world have reached nearly 4,000 people die. In globally, until now, the coronavirus outbreak status is still categorized as an epidemic. But the fact, in my own opinion, the fact is the coronavirus, now we can call the coronavirus also as a pandemic, And the meaning of pandemic, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, are usually intended for cases of disease that have experienced a sudden increase and above the estimated number of cases in a population in a region. And according to the expert, in contrary, otherwise, according to experts, the meaning of pandemic, the disease has killed hundreds of thousands of people. Pandemics are more likely to occur with new viruses. It's like a corona, yeah? And which can infect people easily. That's why the spread of coronavirus is too easy and massive, yeah? And massive by its nature, which can infect people easily and can spread between people in efficient and sustainable way. And the World of Health Organization, or WHO, itself divides the phases of the flu pandemic in 6 phases. So based on this understanding, the spread of COVID-19 can be categorized as a pandemic. Even the United States, WHO, only categorized coronavirus as an epidemic, not pandemic yet. But I'm not agree with the United Nations, yeah. I think coronavirus categorized as a pandemic. 3 major countries threatened with economic recession because of the coronavirus spread. First, Germany. We know Germany, well known as the 4th largest economic power in the world and number 1 in European Union, yeah? And as the backbone of the European Union. In addition to post-Brexit, France is also expected to stumble over corona due to the economic downturn in China. According to Guardian, or German central bank Bundesbank, the 5 main sectors in the country continue to decline because of the coronavirus. And then the second is Singapore. Singapore is predicted to fall into recession because it has the 2nd largest corona victim after China. Singapore confirmed nearly 100 cases of corona infection in the country. I think the number will always increase, yeah, time by time. And the possibility of recession was also expressed by the Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Hsien Loong. Therefore, the impact of the coronavirus on the economy will already be felt in the short term. The impact will be significant because the spread is so intensive that the Singapore economy will be hit. Because the exports of a source of economic growth of Singapore is China. China is Singapore's main partner with a value of $50.4 billion, or accounted for 13% of total export. And the third, Japan. Japan reported a slowdown in its economy in the December quarter 2019. Japan's economy contracted sharply in the 4th quarter, even the deepest since the last 6 years. And the decline was far worse than economists had expected, which should have contracted only 1%. The country's GDP growth also shrank by 6.300%. And the worst, this could make Japan trapped in a big recession. The analysis said the effect of the corona pandemic, yeah, I call pandemic, not epidemic. The corona pandemic could damage Japan's economic growth. Moreover, the corona has certainly hit the China's economy, which is so important for Japan. The economic slowdown in China means declining demand. Therefore, Japanese exports are almost certainly depressed and can affect overall GDP. And how to prevent coronavirus? WHO warns that the coronavirus outbreak can come back to life. It means that if you infected by the coronavirus, the virus is still in your body, even you a little bit health because of consume the foreign medicine, yeah. But the virus is still in your body until you die for the rest of your life. Prevention of coronavirus in household scope. It's like wash your hand with soap and using a mask with when you got a flu, and consuming balanced nutrition. Eat only a healthy food with a healthy menu, and be careful of contact with animals. Avoid consuming uncooked meat. If you want to eat meat, then it must be truly cooked. If you suffer from cough, runny nose, and shortness of breath, immediately go to a health facility. And in the domestic sphere, because of the action taken by the government will determine the situation of disease outbreaks in the country. Whatever scenario is taken by each country, that step must be fast and aggressive. And especially in the first case, the first cluster of transmission and evidence of first human transmission. Then build a special hospital that has isolation rooms for COVID-19 patients and other infectious disease in isolated locations on other islands. Then prepare an isolation room, check mass availability on the market, and carry out socialization, healthy menu, healthy food to maintain the body immunity. And Alhamdulillah, the government of Indonesia is preparing a cross-sectoral corona protocol, between the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Religion, the Ministry of Education and Culture, and the Ministry of Communication and Information. And then tracking the patient history and people transmitting the coronavirus is very important to control its spread. And then how to prevent the coronavirus within regional and global scope. Effects of contemporary global issues on bilateral and regional relations based on their universal nature and impact. Various contemporary global issues are shared problems. So, in this case, bilateral and regional cooperation is needed because contemporary global issues also have an international dimensions because security threats stemming from past Cold War contemporary global issues have now been transnational. And therefore, efforts to deal with various global issues also have their own consequences. In order for contemporary global issues to be handled as effectively as possible, they must be addressed through a mechanism of cooperation between countries, be it bilateral, regional, and global. And the need for international cooperation in dealing with contemporary global issues based on their transnational and international dimension character increases interdependence, responsibility towards one another, and dependencies on other parties. So the increase in interdependence and dependence is greatly influenced by development and globalization, especially in terms of the impact to the international economic interactions, and the second, the role of international institutions, and a number of operational principles in the international system. Then regional cooperation facing global issues. Each country in each region need to prevent the entry of COVID-19 into their respective countries. For example, Indonesia, by tightly guarding 135 entrants and securing their land and sea borders because of its nature, borderless and transnational, And in a global scope, while the international dimensions related to various contemporary global issues are first nature, impact, solutions, and way to overcome contemporary global issues that multidimensional, non-conventional, transnational, borderless, non-military, and universal. And the second, because of its universal impacts, so that the development of various contemporary global issues has created its own need. It's different, with the domestic issue or traditional security, international traditional security, because the issues has created its own need for cooperation between countries. So therefore, for countries, if efforts to deal with contemporary global problems more effectively and efficiently, the country must face these issues through a mechanism of global cooperation and multilateral cooperation with other countries, both of bilateral, trilateral levels, sub-regional, regional, and international. For example, by supporting Donald Trump's call for pharmaceutical companies to collaborate to develop a virus vaccine that will be distributed to the public in the whole world. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.